It put the reflection of the orange in the sunglasses. That's gotta be the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. Photoshop came out with a huge update, and I have a few tips that will help you get the most out of it with your Midjourney images. For starters, you can access it by going into your Creative Cloud and then clicking on the beta apps on the left-hand side. So tip number one, to keep it simple, I think you should unlock the background layer of your picture, and then you're gonna hit the crop tool and expand the frame. Now, when you select the marquee tool, you can now choose which area you want to fill in. Once you make the selection, Generative Fill shows up right there for you. And my recommendation is to not include any prompt right away. Just hit generate and let Photoshop try its best to expand the image for you. Maybe my big tip number one is to temper your expectations. As amazing as this is, it doesn't work perfectly every time, and that might get a little frustrating. Here I am filling out this picture of Thor. I thought I did a pretty good job. And when you click generate, you actually get 3 different options every time. So don't be afraid to look through them and pick your favorite. Also, don't be afraid to regenerate. Just because the first 3 aren't good doesn't mean the next 3 won't be. And an extra tip that might help your workflow go faster, hitting Control A will select your entire canvas. Then you want to hit Alt and select the areas you're not looking for. This will be an inverse selection, so that instead of generating over the picture, you generate around it. Just a quick little workflow. I hope I explained that correctly. Now, should you generate around the image all at once? No, I mean, you can try it out, but I really recommend to generate in smaller portions. Now, the reason for this has to do with the resolution of the generative fill. It can only go up to like 1024 pixels. And what that means is that if you try and make a giant picture, it will only have a max resolution of 1024. Now, the larger the picture, the blurrier that will be. But when you generate in smaller portions, 1024 gets packed into that smaller frame, meaning it can be a lot higher resolution. You see that difference in the resolution? It's pretty stark. Now, here's where I really wanted to mention temper your expectations. When I heard of generative fill, I thought it would be the solution to consistent styles. Like, I would have Thor in this cartoon version, and then I could prompt any other character and have them show up looking the same. I was wrong. This is what it comes up with for Spider-Man. It's not good. Now, I have to point out that one of the problems might be due to Adobe's dataset. Like, they won't have intellectual property such as Spider-Man. But even if you try cartoon superhero, it just doesn't work. So I don't recommend generating characters with this feature. Also, keep in mind this is in beta, so it will probably get better in the future. But for now, it is just awful to try and replace characters. I don't recommend doing that. I also tried getting Thor to hold his hammer. I input Mjolnir, and Adobe didn't recognize that as English, so that's just one little hiccup you might come across. However, after trying Thor's hammer, it came up with this, and I think that did a really good job of maintaining the style, like an exceptionally good job. So that's probably another big tip for you. It's great with accessories. Making small adjustments to an image, just top notch. Look how good of a job it does here. My character was cropped at the top, and I just wanted to see the rest of it, and oh my god, it did such a good job. Really hard to believe. And because you'll see it do such a good job in some areas, you'll think, oh well, it can do anything, and that's where your disappointment might come into play. So as long as you keep your expectations in check, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this feature. Here's a great example of how good it is at changing accessories. She's got orange glasses. I wanted them to be black sunglasses, and oh my god, look how cool this is. It put the reflection of the orange in the sunglasses. How is that even possible? I get goosebumps just looking at it now. How did it know that the orange was there? How did it? The sunglasses, the orange, the sunglasses aren't real. Well, first of all, none of it's real because AI made it all. The sunglasses are here, the orange is here, and it knew to put a reflection in the sunglasses. How did it know that? This is the first example I've seen that really showcases the future of the world, that an AI will be able to do something without you telling it to do it. Like, if this was a video game or just a regular computer program, you would have to program in the reflection. But now, all we have to do is ask for sunglasses, and the AI knew that we would want a reflection there. Like, oh my, that's gotta be the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. Honestly, that's just, how did it do that? feedback. And as excited as I was about that, I went here to try and make a green apple. I wanted to change the orange to an apple. And just a side note, you have to be careful which layer you're generating on. Like, I had to go back to the original layer here to go through with the shape. And I was really hoping that the AI would then change the reflection in the glasses. I guess that's a little unrealistic, but I messed up, right? So then I made a bigger marquee tool. And what you're seeing there is the difference between the layers. I had already made a generation layer. So I'm just saying you need to be careful which layer you generate on, but then look at that, like, oh my God, you can just change it to a green apple over the top. And here I wanted to give her a butterfly tattoo. But you see how my rectangular box, my selection box, was a square, it was wide. That means that it's probably gonna fill out what you gave it. You're gonna have to constrain your selection box to what you're looking for, specifically. You have to make some artistic decisions here. Here's a good example. I wanted blue lipstick instead of red lipstick. So you make a selection around her mouth, type in blue lipstick, and then it kind of gave her a different looking mouth shape, and I wasn't particularly happy with that. I liked how she originally looked. So the key is to constrain the box you're generating in, and look how good of a job it did. I just shrunk the box a little bit. Like, oh my God. I thought this was really impressive. I have a girl at the beach, but I wanted to see if it could take the background and make it a field of flowers. And look at my selection box. It's not perfect. It's actually quite messy, but let's see what Photoshop did with it. Oh my God. If you saw this at first sight, I don't know if you'd be able to see what's wrong with it. Now, if you look a little closer, some things don't line up, and like, that's okay. But in terms of the lighting and stuff, like, can you believe that it matched the background and the character so well? Like, how did it do that with just a little prompt, a field of flowers? That's insane, man. So when it comes to Midjourney, do you just focus on the subject and worry about the background later because you can change it? I really don't know how to approach this creatively. I'm a fan of getting it all in one go, but knowing that you can basically change anything, does that open your workflow up a little and allow you to generate less because now you can do more with those generations? I really don't know. How do you see yourself using this technology? Here's a really fun idea I thought of. I took a grid of my images. You expand the canvas, and then I let Photoshop generate based on the whole grid. Now, it's not perfect, but I love that so much. Like, oh my God. Isn't it so cool that it could take your images in each direction? The red, the green, the sci-fi bluish purple. And here's the other thing. It's not perfect on the first try, and that's fine. But then you can make additional selections and really refine the process. Like here, I didn't like that sort of pinkish color. And you know what problem I found with? I generated on the wrong layer. That's why it added those white bars, because it saw the white bars from the rest of the image. So you choose a different layer, and look, it kind of works. I mean, it's not coherent, but it got the color right. And then I have a random white bar here. So you just select it, hit generate, don't type anything in the prompt, and boom, it does it. It fixes it for you. This is insane, man. Just insane. And then the same thing here on the top left. I didn't like that picture. I didn't think it generated very well. So we just hit generate again, and it's sort of like, oh my gosh, like how does it know? How does it do that? Another tip for you, this process works really well with older versions of Midjourney. Here's something from version 3. It's a very signature Midjourney style, right? So we're just gonna expand this canvas. And one key note that I haven't mentioned yet is to leave a little space on your selection. You want Photoshop to have a little bit of your real picture to base everything off of. So leave some room when you're making the selection. That's all. Boom. Like, whoa, right? This is crazy. There's just some quick tips for you on how to take your Midjourney images and play with them in Photoshop's new beta. Let me know if you have any use cases that you think I should know about. I've got some more video ideas planned. There's one application of this technology that I think will work really well. So subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss that. Leave a like on this video if this helped you at all, and we can share it with more people. I hope you're doing well. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Peace.